Hey,
Hey,
Seasoned
hey, good
family.
people.
Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. How are you?
Happy Thursday. What's up, everybody?
Listen, you guys, I know we always try to make it a little fun for you all. We always try to, touch on some relationship situations that help y'all through some things. But today we need to go a little bit deeper and talk about our history. Why do y'all think our history is like trying to be diminished? People are trying to just hurt and destroy what we mean to this earth, what we mean to this planet, what we mean to this country, what we have offered and what we've brought to the table. Um, why do you think that's so important for people to just, try to erase what we've created? So my question to you, Harmony, let's get straight into it.
Let's
Why do
go.
you think why do you think our history is so under attack right now? Like, why does it make sense for our particular history to be on? Because I can't say that anybody else's history is being attacked right now. So why do you think our history is being attacked?
Um, Great question and great topic. I think, as always, in the past, currently, and very likely in the future, they scared of us. They don't understand how we are able to be who we are and how we are under the circumstances. They threw everything they had at us and still we rise, right? Like there's probably not another group of people that could have been dealt the hand that we were dealt and still show up and show out as we as a people have done. And of course that scares them. Like I think they know full well that if ever we really wanted to take over some shit and run some shit, they would be in trouble. um, you know, I think that there's a lot of people that feel, superior to others and they feel entitled to things. And with that being said, they feel like they have to stand their ground. And they feel like their ground is America, even though we all know, including them, that there would be none of it without us. So, for those reasons and others, I think we will always be under attack by them. And we have always been under attack by them. And what makes it a little more prevalent now is because they have been emboldened by, a Hippocratic person. They've been given permission to reveal how they feel out loud and with little regard in this new space that we're in. Because before they had to just suck it up and be quiet about it. They could think it, they could talk about it in their own homes, but they would never dare be, caught saying it, wearing a t-shirt, putting it on social media and being loud and proud about how they felt. So those are the reasons that I think. What about you?
Okay. I mean, I definitely agree with a lot of those points that you made. I think the bigger picture of it is, in order for you to control a people, is to diminish their history. So if they don't know where they came from and they don't know who they are, and lately it's
Mhm.
saddened to me to see a lot of people of color online speaking about, black people spend too much time worrying about the history and worrying about where they came from versus focusing on the right now. Um, there's an ignorance in that is scary to me. That
Mm.
even black feel and think that it's okay for us to stop worrying about our history and for us to stop caring about where we came from. That is a slap in the face to your grandmothers, your ancestors, to your grandfathers, to
Exactly.
everyone who came before you. If that is your way of thinking, you get some help, talk to somebody. do some research on who you truly are and where you truly came from, because I need you to know.
Right.
Speaking directly to those people of color that are speaking like they don't need, and our children don't need to know their history, for one. But I
Mm.
think that, when you think about a way to control a people and them destroying where we came from and them not being able to acknowledge it, it's because it's so horrific, the things that were done and the things that happened, and the things that took place and that are still taking place. Let's be clear, that are still
Mm-hmm.
taking place. New age form of everything. Um, it's still taking place, and that softens the blow as to what it looks like and how it manifests today. If you don't know the
Right.
history, don't know that, when you get out there and try to buy a home looking like you look, that there's discrimination in the housing market. You don't know, if you get out there and try to get a job, that they overlooked you just because of the color of your skin or because of what your name showed up as on the application before you ever even showed up. Um,
Right.
you don't know that if you don't know your history. So again, to those, I'm speaking directly to those ignorant people of color out there right now, that are online and trying to say that Black people need to get over where they're from and where they came from, and that those times are behind us. That's absolutely not true. That is not reality. That is not the world that we live in. There's a new era and a new phase of all of that. Yes, they're not pulling out whips anymore per se and whipping us and hanging us from trees. But however, if you look at your news or if you read stories, there has been an influx in young Black men coming up hanging from trees across this country.
Yeah.
And of course, they're trying to deem some of those as suicides. But when I tell you,
Mm-hmm.
if you do a little research of your own, you would know that those aren't suicides. Just saying. Um, but then the other part of that is, when you deny somebody of their history, you deny them of their worth today. So how do you
Mm-hmm.
how do you educate your own children if you are afraid to teach your history, or if your history is not being taught? Um,
Right.
and just
Well,
newsflash, just newsflash, one on both ends. Our history cannot be denied, because our history is this country. Our history is the building of this country. Our history is the foundation of this
mm-hmm.
country. History drives this country. So we cannot and will not be denied. We all know that two Caucasian people cannot create color. It's impossible. But just one Black person can create all sorts of color. So that is y'all's real problem. And when you come to terms with that and really realize that, you know, y'all might be a little better off too. Just saying.
And but that brings me to my question today. So, what do you think skills are some ways to prevent our history from being erased?
For one, we definitely have to start or continue to educate our own children on our history. Let them know who their
Mm-hmm.
ancestors are, know who their great and great grandparents are, and their, how they became who they are. So that's one way that we can definitely continue to educate our own children, because if they're not gonna allow it to be taught in schools, um, why shouldn't they know that, their great grandmother was a slave? Why shouldn't they know that their great grandfather was beaten and abused and used as a piece of property instead of a
Okay.
human being? Why shouldn't they know that their aunt was an inventor and she invented something that makes all of our lives easier today? Why shouldn't they know that, you know, something as simple as being able to use their phone and their GPS was built by a Black woman, was created by a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
That they're able to use that device instead of pulling out an old book and trying to
Right.
find where they need on a map. That
Yeah.
was a sister that did that for you. So why shouldn't you know that? Why shouldn't that be a part of your history? Why shouldn't that be something that you're educating, all of America on, not just our generation? Why shouldn't little white kids know that there's just as many geniuses out here in every race as it is in any other. So why shouldn't that be known? Why should anyone's history be under attack and be erased? Question that. I think all white people should be questioning that. Like, why is it that we should try to deny their history? So
Absolutely.
that's
That's a great
the
point.
ways. That's just some of the ways that I think will make a difference in, shutting down those who want to destroy us and to destroy our history. When they truly know what it is that we're capable of and what we've contributed to this world, you'll see that there's just as much of a need for us as it is anybody else, outside of the sauce
Mm-hmm.
that y'all get on a daily basis. Because y'all wouldn't have no flavor if it wasn't for us.
Okay. Period. That seasoning, baby. You need that seasoning. Food be bland. Somebody want to eat it.
What about you?
um, Of course, I agree with what you said. I think it will benefit us greatly, like if our families like kept better records or did more digging, into our own family histories and lineages. There's all kinds of services, and now there's apps like Ancestry.com, 23andMe, all those types of things where you can kind of dig into your DNA and dig into your family history and learn more about what people in previous generations did. I think doing those types of things are very beneficial. Um, reading more, whether it's an actual book, or something tangible, or, you have the world at your fingertips with the internet. So you can research, research, research. Don't believe what people tell you all the time. Get your own information, from credible sources. Um, and, it's just super important, especially for our kids, especially in these days and times when, things are so different. Like, I know for sure that kids would be served by being able to appreciate the differences in how they're growing up and the opportunities and things that they have, and how they got those opportunities. You weren't just handed those opportunities. Every generation before you put the blood, sweat, and tears into, you know, moving our culture forward. And if it wasn't for those people that came before you, you would not be, not only would you not be, but you would not be able to do half the things that you do, or the pleasures that you have, or the opportunities that you have. And I really think that needs to be instilled more. I think they need to have some type of like experiences where people can go and see what it was like go physically see the spaces that people used to be in, physically do the things that people had to do, because there's no greater teacher than actual experience. You can see it, read it, hear about it, watch it, and you might get it, but it's nothing like feeling it. It's nothing like, getting your finger pricked, trying to pick a piece of cotton, and understanding that, people had to do bales and bales and bales of this, so they're going to get beat, killed, whatever the case may be. I will give a huge shout out to the African American History Museum in Alabama. It is phenomenal. If you have never been, I highly, highly recommend it. Go check it out. It is kind of the best depiction of our history and our culture that I have personally seen. I've been to a couple of different museums. We have one here in Atlanta. There's one there in DC. And, it's just really, really moving and touching. I don't think I've seen a better, depiction of our past, than when I physically was in Africa personally myself and felt felt what that felt like. So that's what I think.
That's a really good point. Now, when you were speaking, I was actually thinking the same thing as well, because the one that's in D.C., the African American Museum that's in D.C., I've been to that one.
Hmm.
I've been to Atlanta as well, but the one in D.C., it hits different.
Yeah.
It hits different because it takes you on a full, complete journey from back then
Hmm.
to now,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you can see where you've grown and see where we've come from. But and I think that's important for all people to see. I'm sure that some of those ignorant people that we were talking about earlier online hasn't ever been, and
Right.
probably never care to go. But
Hmm.
nonetheless, I think it's extremely important to see, and even that is under attack. I don't know if you knew that or not, but even the African American Museum on the mall in DC is
Right.
under attack, and they're trying to remove that and trying to get that taken out. And it's it changed my life for forever, and it impacted my life in a positive way
Hmm.
forever. And I think that is
Yeah.
what they're trying to destroy. They know when you empower a people by them knowing their history, that they're unstoppable. So I think that's one of the things that they're trying to destroy. But yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly, 100% on that. Like, go and see, go and visit, go and support, go and take your children, go and take your cousins, go and take someone with you and get that education yourself, as well as get them that education, and see, doesn't it change your life as well, forever. And I don't think you will view things the same, and I definitely don't think anybody will take it lightly to see that our own government is trying to destroy our history. I don't think anyone would take that lightly.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, guys.
so,
So as Skills was
so
saying, this is a very serious, sometimes heavy topic, but it doesn't have to be heavy just because it's important. You know what I'm saying? It's needed, it's necessary. So, let us know what you think. Let us know if this resonated with you. Let us know if you visited any of those places that we mentioned, and if it had an impact on your life, or if you know any other places that you can suggest for us and our listeners to go check out, because I know our listeners live all across the country and some even international. So let us know some places that you've come across that will be an impact on us understanding the state of our history.
yes, you guys, please do that and put in the comments. Put in the comments some places for us to go, as well as people to be educated on and know, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people have never been.
Mhm.
They've never tried to travel to DC. They've never tried to travel to Atlanta. They've never tried to see. They've never even seen Martin Luther King's house, and it's literally right downtown Atlanta. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
Mhm.
why y'all done been there for everything else? Y'all done been there for Magic
Okay.
City. Why not ride down the street and see Dr. King's house and get that history, huh? In the museum. You his actual tomb
By
is
all of
there. Him and
this.
his tomb is there. Right down the street from
Yeah.
Magic City. Right there, take a left. Take a right.
Both
Find it.
Atlanta landmarks.
Listen. I ain't taking nothing away from Magic City, but they do have good wings. But
Okay.
ride down the street and see, get your history while you there as well. A friend of mine that visited Atlanta said, "Man, I done been to Atlanta about 20 times. Ain't nobody ever told me nothing about this. I've never been over here to see Dr. King's museum and in the tomb. I never knew it was here." But he's like, every time I come, I
Wow.
go to Magic City though. So just keep that in mind. I'm not telling y'all not to have a good time in life, but just know how your life was afforded to you by knowing your history. Yes.
Absolutely.
Good.
Agree.
Well, to keep it going, as if this episode was not fiery enough with us fighting for our history, I have to do it. I was dreading, but I have to do a let the people know this week, Harmony. And I've been reading a little bit of the Epstein files. Unfortunately, it has me saddened. It has me disgusted. It has me concerned. It has me worried about the state of people. The outside of just this country, just the state of people in general, like to be so cruel. If you guys haven't educated yourself, please read some of those files. Please educate yourself, and preferably, the hardest part of it is the part about the children, and why pedophilia and why trafficking and why all of that is not more uh, what just I don't I'm at a loss for words of what to even describe it. It's so disgusting. But a friend of mine, Mike Vick, that and I'm not justifying anything that was done or anything that anybody did, but how is it that Mike Vick could be sent to jail for fighting dogs and hurting animals, and these people with money and people of non-color can be, I said what I said, people of non-color cannot be
Okay.
prosecuted for harming and hurting children. Well, I reading those files, I understand now, and I have my answer. So you all go and get your own answer and figure out why that is. But I just want to let people know that the answer and why they were allowed and able to hurt those children is because they were Black. The children were
Mm.
Black. That's why no one cares. That's why no one is talking about it. That's why it's being dismissed. That's why they've gotten away with it. That's why they're still getting away with it. That's why the orange person in the office has not had to answer to it, because the children were Black. But I guarantee you,
Mm.
if they were little white children, we would be more up in arms about it. And when I say we, I mean all of us, because
That's right.
the stories of little white children get told. The stories of little Black children do not. That is the history that we live. That is the country that we live in.
Mm-hmm. Sad but true.
Disgusting. Disgusting. And there's no way in hell that anyone that was involved or had knowledge of or knew about any of that happening should be in office running a country anywhere on this planet.
Nope. But here we are.
What does that say about us? I try not to cry.
It's okay. It's okay to let it out, because it is terrible and it is inhumane, and it did scar those individuals and, all the things. But like you said, yeah, the correlation that you made between the animals and the people, unfortunately, historically, we know that, you know, there is a higher affinity placed on domesticated animals than it is on, some people's, human lives. So, yep. Y'all make sure y'all, tap into this conversation. We know that it, tugs at your heartstrings and all the things, but it's an important conversation nonetheless. And we try to make sure we have all types of conversations here on Seasoned AzF.
Until next time, family, y'all try to stay seasoned.
All right.
Peace.